Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Guess what the weather's doing? It's doing what it does in this flipping country, quite honestly. It's doing what it should do, it's raining. But we're in for a cold snap apparently. Wait and see. This is just really an update on the weekend. Hannah and I got a lot done. The outgoing pile has got quite a bit bigger. I don't think that's going to be one carload, I think it's going to be two. But nonetheless, the only job I've got really to do that I need to do relatively quickly because of the noise, the rain coming down on those bags is under the bedroom window, so at night it's very loud. So I want to get those bags round into the carport. A lot of that is so that they'll dry off, because otherwise they're going to go in the car soaking wet and I'll get water all over the place. So I'll try and get that done. I'm not going to do anything that involves any lifting, bending or exertion of any description today. I'm having a lazy day. I won't say I overdid it at the weekend, but it was borderline. I got very close to my back giving in, basically. So I got away with it. But we've done... I said I'll be happy if we get that end finished off, which we have. We've tidied the line, all that dangly wisteria and knotted dead wood and everything's gone. It's all been bagged up. The bushes over here have all been trimmed back. They're all sort of tidy now, all the long straggly bits taken off and all bagged up. So I'm pleased with what we got done. And we had another sweep round the yard. We're getting a very large pile of bigger twigs. It's obviously they're too big for secateurs to cut up, and I'm hoping I can just put those in the car and take them as they are. I might have to cut some of them in half, but that's a separate job, that's not a big deal. They're not in the way at the moment. As far as in here is concerned, I've got something very unusual to show you, but I don't want to go round everything in bloom. I mean, all I'm doing in here today is actually going round with the sprayer. I'm going to spray it, not the plants, I'm going to water everything with the sprayer today. Literally, because to water the pots involves bending and stretching, and I'm not doing it. But I do need to get some water around the plants today. So we'll be doing that, and then that'll be all out here. I've got some repotting to start doing. I've got a list, you know, in red in my notes. So I might start doing a bit of that, and I might do a little bit of that this afternoon because I can film that and like save it up for tomorrow or something. But because that isn't really bending, stretching or doing anything, because I'm working at this height. You know, this is my workbench. I'm standing upright doing the work, so I can do that sort of thing without the bending. But I am going to go careful for the next couple of days. Don't want to push my luck. But yeah, this Cymbidium type, I think it's Wilsonara tiger tail. It might be, if not it's very close. That's opened up nicely with a great big long spike. Sherry baby's still pushing on with buds, but this thing here, I do not recognise these blooms at all, and to me they look deformed, so I'm waiting for a few more to open. Yeah, they are. They're not right. They're not opening properly. And I don't recognise the blooms, quite honestly, so I don't know what's gone wrong with that plant. Doesn't look anything wrong with the plant. Nice plump pseudo bulbs. Green leaves, no spots. It's actually a very healthy plant, but those blooms don't. They look odd. I'm going to wait for a few more to open and make a decision on that. It might not be staying. Yeah, and I've got another massive spraying session to do out here with the systemic bug killer. 12 to 14 days after the last lot is actually the 30th. The 30th is the 12th day. So basically I'm hoping that there's a sign of at least one mild day later this week. And if there is a mild day, then I'll pick that day because it keeps the daytime temperature in here that little bit higher. So we'll get that done. And that is really odd. It just isn't right. So yeah, they're all opening it. That's the only one that appears fully opened and it's distorted. And others haven't opened fully yet. So I'm going to wait and see with that one, but it does look odd. The Chirophorum's going over, the original 2 spikes. There's not many blooms left on that now, but there's another little one coming here. I mean, that's not a great plant, that one, but I'm hoping that that will pull on better after it's bloomed. We get some new growths going. It's not too long been repotted, so I don't need to repot it again with the next set of new growths, so that should get a better root system established. So that will be good. Nothing going on with the mounted stuff at the moment. As I said, it's difficult here because the plants, they're going to have to adapt to this environment, isn't, you know, or adapt or go, you know, those are the choices. Oh, and talking of plants going, I had a chat with Carol, who's having, well, it's heading up towards 30 plants off of me, and they were going to go today actually, they were going to be setting off today, but we've got postal strikes on Wednesday and Thursday, and so it only needs a little hiccup or something to go wrong and they don't get delivered tomorrow on Tuesday, they'll get held until probably Friday or Saturday, and they're going bare rooted. So we've decided to wait a week and do it next Monday. And Hannah told me about a service I didn't really know much about that she uses all the time for her little eBay business. And basically you book online, so you go online and pay for postage. They come and collect the parcel from you and guarantee next day tracked delivery, and it's cheaper than going in the post office and posting it. And that's Royal Mail rather than Parcel Force, I think. But anyway, so I thought I'd have a go at that. So I can book that on the Sunday for them to come and pick the parcel up Monday morning. You have to give them a 3-hour slot. Well, I'll be in, so you know they can come and get it. And the beauty of that is that the Royal Mail and Parcel Force people know the code to the gate, so they'll come and actually knock on the door. They won't be standing around in the street wondering where I live and everything. So that's that. Yeah, so those orchids will go next Monday now, unless we're in a really cold spell. You know, if the weather's gone downhill and we're looking at frosts every night and that, it's probably better to just delay. You know, you are endangering your plants if they get too cold. I mean, there's no warm growers going in the box, I don't think. Virtually everything is intermediate or cooler growing. But that doesn't mean to say it wants to get down near zero in the, you know, in some warehouse somewhere. So we'll avoid that. The one of the other Cymbidiums is just starting to open. A couple more days, these will be opening up. This is the yellow one that came from Burnham's, and we've had, I think this is the 5th spike on this plant. So it's nothing new. The one that will be new that we haven't seen for a year is the, well, nearly a year, is this one round here. And this is the copper one. So that should be open soon. This one's opening up well now. And the other spike down here is pushing on. It looked a bit deformed when I first saw it, but it's pushing on now. It's not going to be as tall as this one, but nonetheless, you know, it should push on, grow on. And all 3 of those will need repotting after they've bloomed, and you know, they've got signs of new growth and stuff. See, this one here, the new growth is here. It's already got nearly full-size leaves, and it's got no room. It's bending the bucket to try and make some room for itself. So I want to get on and do that, really. And then the back bulbs on that one can come off, because they've been dead ages. And it's now starting to grow a lot better. So you know, it can go in the same size pot again. It just needs moving across so that this new part of the plant is back up against the back, leaving room for new growth, and just take all this rubbish off the back. And yeah, we'll see where we go with that. Yeah, so as I said, a successful weekend. I mean, yesterday we were dodging showers. You know, the weather forecast said it was going to be a fundamentally dry day with the odd shower. Well, these odd showers seem to be coming over relatively frequently yesterday, so we had to play dodge the showers basically. But you know, the work that I wanted to get finished got finished, and it's all bagged up, ready to go. So that's a large section of the garden. You know, this whole section now is done. Nothing else. This green bush here with the still got a few white flowers on, I'm leaving that until it's completely finished blooming before I cut that one back. And I mean, that's a 10-minute job. I can do that with the shears and then just put the stuff in a bag for some time. Yeah, and the only stuff left really now is that big spiky bush there that's gone right up in the air. And now that's a lot of material to cut up and get in bags and get rid of. But as far as the pruning goes, it's relatively straightforward, because all of these long bits that are pointing forward towards us, they're coming off at ground level. So they're just large pieces to come off in one go. You know, I'll get in there with the pruning saw, cut them off at the ground, and then carefully with the gloves, because they're really spiky, you know, pick them up and using the secateurs, trim small pieces off straight into the bag using the bag holder. So I should be able to do that on my own quite comfortably. And then these two huge laurel bushes, the second one you can't even see because the first one's so big, they're a job in themselves. That's going to be hard work. The trunk inside that laurel is nearly 6 inches across, not round. So there's a lot of work to do on those. And to do any of that, I need my bonsai and some of this rubbish staging and everything out of the way. So my bonsai staging, one of the units has been stained and is in the carport at the moment in the dry, waiting to cure. So I'm going to wait until I can do a bit of bending and kneeling, which isn't going to be today, that's for sure. And I'll get that unit put together, get that round here, and it's going to go here for now. There's no sun in the garden. The bonsai were placed there to catch the last rays of the sun before the sun got too low that it doesn't come in the garden anymore. So that first unit will go here, and as much bonsai trees as I can will get put on it. The rest will get put on the decking out of the way, because I need this section of the garden completely clear, because large pieces are going to be coming crashing down onto the ground. So I need, you know, everything out of the way. So that's the plan, to get that done. And hopefully a fair bit of that, getting the staging done, getting the bonsai moved, getting the old staging out of the way, getting it clear, ready to do the next lot of heavy duty pruning. We should be able to get that done this week. And then perhaps next week we can have a go at something else. I'm not sure which I want to have a go at next. And I keep saying I've got till the end of March to do that. I got that wrong. It's the end of February. My inspection will probably be the first week in March next year. But that's still December, January and February. I've still got 3 months just to do that bit of the garden. So it will get done. I'd like to get on and do some on my own, but Hannah's quite happy to come down after Christmas for another weekend and help out, because it certainly goes an awful lot quicker with 2 of us. Anyway, I've got to get on and get everything in here sprayed and, well, effectively watered. They don't get watered properly with the sprayer, but this time of year they don't hardly need any water. Nothing much is growing. There's some spikes pushing on in places, but a lot of the plants are just, you know, dormant basically, because temperatures are low, days are short. I mean, we're only 3 or 4 weeks away from the shortest day. It's amazing how the time goes. Yeah, and yeah, I'll leave it at that for today. It's just a sort of quick update on the weekend and how it went. And I know it's not orchid stuff, and some people aren't in the least bit interested in what goes on in the garden. But the garden is what I see out of the conservatory now, which I never had around the old place because it had 2 layers of shade netting on. So I could never work with my orchids and still see my garden. And I want this place to be a nice, peaceful, sheltered place with some types of flowering plants for butterflies and bees and things, with the bird feeders, with the birds coming and going. A peaceful place to be able to sit out with a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. And while it's got all this outstanding work, it doesn't achieve that for me. I keep looking at it, and everywhere I look I see another job to do. So when I get it finished, it will be a place where I will spend a lot more time, because at the moment I spend nearly all my time in the house or in the conservatory, not in the garden. And you have to bear in mind, come late winter, early spring, I've got a lot of work to do on the bonsai trees. There's an awful lot of those need repotting, pruning. So obviously the bonsai channel will get into gear once we get out the other side of January into February. Things will start moving. There'll be lots more bonsai videos going on. That doesn't mean there'll be any less orchid videos. The orchid channel stays as it is. Nothing's changing apart from a few less plants. And what I may do is reorganize it, because I'm now a Cymbidium grower where I never have been before, and I've got 3 large ones. I'd like to get a couple more miniatures, possibly some of the cascade types. I don't know yet because I haven't seen any, but I'll wing that as and when I do. But where I sit at the computer, I want to see out here to see the bird feeders and the bonsai staging and everything. So I'm probably going to rearrange things so that these larger plants are over there, because I don't need to look over there. It's a brick wall and a fence, and get smaller plants here so that I can see through that gap over the top of these shelves and under that high one. If I can see through that gap, then I can see most of the garden from my seat. And I do spend a fair bit of time at the computer. It's not only keeping my notes up to date, but I've got all the Orchid Society stuff, and the channels, the 2 channels to do all that sort of stuff, and the Facebook group, you know, so I'm sat there a fair bit. So a few rearrangements to do. The Laelia anceps spikes are pushing on quite nicely now. I'm seriously thinking of staking them, because if they arch over, you know, they could grow 2 to 3 foot long eventually. Although I think the plant is not vigorous enough in this environment to push the spikes that high. I don't know. But I need them to go straight up. If they start arching over, they'll take up too much space. And I need that. That's almost touching the glass. If it touches the glass and we get a cold spell, it'll burn. And that'll burn the tip where the buds are. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get on with my watering. And I can get this posted later in the day, this afternoon, I expect. And we'll go from there. And yeah, we got lots of things on the go at the moment, you know. Building bonsai staging, doing the garden, keeping the yard tidy, because now it is tidy. It needs to be kept tidy. We've still got 3 tons of leaves to come down off that oak tree. And they're not all going to go in next door's garden. There's an awful lot are going to come in this one. So, you know, I'd like to keep everything that we've got tidy and try and maintain it tidy now. So there we go, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.